Google holds 83% of the desktop search engine market. Google also holds 95% of the mobile search engine market. Over 1 billion people use Google worldwide. 2 trillion searches are run on Google every single year. Search engines drive 68% of all website traffic. Location-related searches account for 30% of all mobile searches. 75% of all searches only look at page 1 of the search results. 87% of consumers on Google used local search to evaluate businesses in 2022. 98% of consumers used the internet to find out more information about local businesses in 2022. So if all of these stats don't convince you how important Google is for your local flooring company, then nothing will. So let's jump into a strategy where we can show you the exact process we use to rank flooring companies just like yours in the local area. So quickly, before we get going, make sure that you like this video and you click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future updates. So before we actually get into the strategy and the process that we use, I just want to show you a really quick case study and what you could expect to achieve from following this process and ranking in your local area for the local keywords that people are searching. So here's a really quick case study that I wanted to show you for a local flooring company that we did this for. And you can see how their traffic has exploded literally within the past sort of month or two. So initially when we took it over, there was another apparent SEO company doing work on their website. It turns out they weren't really doing anything at all, and you can see that they've pretty much had no traffic for years. In fact, you can see all the way back to 2017, and they was paying a company, you know, a fee every month to do SEO, and they weren't really doing anything, and it pretty much remained flat throughout the whole time they was doing any work. So we've taken over this website, and you can see how it's literally exploded from roughly around 131 visits per month to their site, and it's now at 1,452 visits per month, and it's going to keep climbing because of the strategy that we've implemented on their site. We've done a mixture of creating content that gets them found locally, so for local search results, and we've also done a mixture of content where they're going to get picked up for queries and questions and things like that that people have about their products and services. So we're focusing on local search and also building a solid brand behind that local company. And this software often underestimates the amount of traffic they're actually getting. If we was to look into their Google Search Console, we'll see that this traffic is actually more than what they're estimating here. So it's probably going to be around about 2,000 visits per month. And this is just a local flooring company within one specific area, as I'm about to show you. So if we go over to this visual, this is basically a representation of a particular flooring keyword that they're ranking for number 1 in their local areas. So this is showing where they're ranking for on the map pack. This is showing the radius that they're getting picked up for and the position that they're in for it. So they're based where the center one is, but you can see that they are in position 1 for the whole of this graph, and probably wider, but this is as wide as it goes. And this is because we're not only focusing on organic rankings, but we're also focusing on Google Maps rankings as well. And we're going to continue to find new keywords that they can target, and we're going to continue to expand this circle wider and wider so that they're getting picked up for more and more keywords around more local areas on the map pack and organically. So now let's get into the actual process that we use to rank local flooring companies just like yours. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to improve the overall site's content and the user experience. And to do this, we first must run an audit. And in the audit, we look for any technical issues, and we also look for any general on-page optimizations that we can make. A lot of this stuff in the audit and in the first stage is basically standard practice for SEO. So I'm not going to go into that in this video. But really the goal is just making sure that your website is technically sound and it's optimized correctly, meaning that all of the pages are structured in the correct way. We don't have thin content, we don't have duplicate content, we filled out all the metadata, and there's lots of other little bits and pieces that we can go through to optimize your site. But the main focus points for me in any project are going to be, firstly, the content on your website. So Google effectively has a quality score for your website. If you go into something called Google Search Console, which should be connected up to your website, you can see how many pages are indexed and how many pages have been crawled but are not currently indexed. So if you have, let's say, 100 pages and you have 50 pages that are crawled but not indexed, that means that you have a score of 50 out of 100. You need as many pages as possible to be indexed, and anything in the crawled and not indexed needs to be worked on, and we need to understand why it's in that section and how we can get it out of that. And usually it's down to page quality. So essentially every page on your website needs to add value. It needs a clear purpose. Google needs to understand the content that's on the page. There needs to be enough content on the page so that Google can understand it. Making sure that every page on your website is of high enough quality is one of the most important things that you can do before you start any other kind of SEO activities. Because bad pages, poor performing pages on a site can bring the rest of your site down. And then the second most important thing that you need to focus on is site structure. You need all the right pages for a local flooring company. You need to set the site up in such a way that you can create landing pages for the different products and services that you offer. You need to create basically a hierarchy of information, so that way the different pages on your site can pass authority to the pages that you want to rank, and so Google can crawl and index your website easily and efficiently. The less you make Google work, the easier it's going to be for it to crawl and index your pages. So the second step in the process is to optimize for locations. So I just spoke about how important site structure is, and when you start creating local pages that target specific services within a specific locations, this is where site structure is especially important. You need to create location hub pages, so the various services that you offer within the different locations all link together in a logical way. You need to build it out in such a way where Google can understand how the different locations link together and how the different services all link together. You need to create relationships between these different pages. And on the location pages themselves, you need to structure the page in a way where Google understands it, and so do your users. You need to optimize for the main topic. You need to create all of the information that someone would need to make an informed decision about buying your product or service within that specific location. You need to clarify the area that you're targeting. You need to embed maps so people can see the area you're targeting visually as well. You need to answer common questions that people will have about this particular product and service. You need to cover any sub-services of that particular service that you're offering and link to the relevant pages if you've created separate pages for these. You need to cover relevant locations as well. So if you're targeting a city and there's lots of different locations within that city, then you're going to need to mention those within the content. And if you've created specific pages again for these particular locations, you're going to need to link to those pages as well. You need to include videos, you need to include good quality images, you need to have call to actions, you need to have social proof, and you need to have related content such as case studies or blog articles. So the third step in the process is to build topical authority. Topical authority is having enough authoritative content about a particular sub-niche of flooring on your site so that Google can understand you're experts within that field. And generally, most local flooring companies on the whole don't have particularly good content, and they either don't have very good content or they just simply lack content. There's not enough information on their site for Google to understand it and to class it as an authority within a particular niche. So for example, if your local flooring company specializes in carpets, then you need enough content on your website to show Google that you are experts within the carpet niche. The more of this good quality content that you have on your site, the more questions you're answering, the more queries that you're answering. And if Google can see this, the more likely it is to rank you for all of these related keywords. Generally, my process is that over 6 months to a year, I generally aim to publish roughly around 30 pieces of authoritative content on a particular niche. And to establish yourself as an authority within a sub-niche of flooring, for example carpet, you first need to establish yourself as an authority within flooring in general. So to do this, you just need to cover all of the main topics that are to do with flooring. You don't need to go into detail in flooring, you just need to cover all of the main high-level topics. And even if you don't offer some of the things that you're covering, you still need to create this content to show Google that you have a good understanding of flooring as a whole. And once you've created this content on flooring in general, you can then start going down the niche that you want to target specifically. So it could be carpet or it could be wood. And the goal then is to basically cover every single question or topic you can possibly think of surrounding this particular sub-niche of flooring. In my experience, you roughly publish around 10 to 15 general flooring articles before you then start moving into the sub-niche. And I know a lot of flooring companies offer more than one type of flooring. So if you do, then the first thing you need to do is establish one particular sub-niche that is most profitable for you or you have most knowledge in. Once you've conquered that one sub-niche, then move on to the next. But one thing you mustn't do is start writing articles about every single type of flooring month after month. So for example, one month you're doing about carpet, next month you're talking about wood flooring, next month you're talking about laminate, next month you're talking about LVT. You want to keep it down into one sub-niche and dominate that first before you move on to the next. The fourth part of the process is to then start focusing on social proof. And one of the best things you can do for social proof as a local flooring company is start building out case studies. Every local flooring company that is supplying and fitting flooring needs case studies on their website. Case studies are a very easy way to create good quality content as long as it's well written. They are proof that you can do exactly what you say you can. Often case studies support other content on your site, such as blog content, your services, your products. Case studies can easily be repurposed for other channels around the internet, such as your social media channels. And typically we tend to aim for an initial 5 case studies. And generally, if we're going after a very specific sub-niche, then we'll try and create 5 case studies around that particular sub-niche only. Because even if you had someone that's just left a really good review on your Google business profile or another review site, and they've also added images to that review, then that's a really easy way to create a good case study in next to no time. And if you're writing case studies and within the case studies you're mentioning a very small area that you've done that job in, and you haven't actually created main location pages for those areas, then you could even potentially rank those case studies on the search results. And if someone clicks on the search results and sees that it's a case study, then that's going to be a really good way of converting a searcher into an actual customer. As well as case studies, you also want to be gathering other types of social proof. So that's going to be partnerships, it's going to be companies that you work with, products that you sell. It's going to be gathering reviews from review sites and then adding them to your website. And it's going to be linking all of your social profiles to your actual website. And it's also going to be making sure that you have a presence on all of the main social media platforms and that you're linking to them from your website. So the 5th step in the process is to optimize your Google business profile. To optimize your Google business profile, the first step that you need to do is quite simply fill out every piece of information that Google asks of you. Again, a lot of this is standard practice, and I'm not going to go through the ins and outs of what you should fill out because all of that information is already out there. It's easy to find and it's easy to follow. Once your Google business profile is fully filled out, the most important thing that we need to do is start getting more reviews on it. And to do that, we put a system in place. We automate as much of the review request process as possible. So that way we can have a system in place that repeatedly gets reviews almost on autopilot. And as the reviews are coming in, you obviously need to make sure that you're keeping on top of them and you're replying to them promptly. And that also goes for negative reviews as well. Make sure that you always reply to negative reviews. So once we have the review system in place, the next thing that we need to do is just fill out some additional information and add some additional content that a lot of people don't do. The first section is the FAQ section. On your Google business profile, you can ask FAQs to yourself and you can answer them yourself. So think of all of the most general FAQs that people have about your products and services and your business, and make sure that you've answered all of those questions on your profile. The next thing we need to do is add all of your products and services. So we need to look on your website, look at all of the pages that we've created for the different products and services, and we need to add these to your Google business profile under the products section. And every product and service should link back to the relevant page on your website. And then we need to create Google business posts. Google business posts work exactly the same as any other social media platform. You can create as many posts as you like and you can post as often as you like. But here's a really simple structure that we follow to make sure that we've got all of the right posts out there and we're given all of the right information. So initially, we aim to create roughly around 20 to 25 posts. We will create a post for every product and service that you offer within every single location that you offer it in. and these posts should mimic what's already on your site. We then create 5 review posts, so basically screenshotting a review and then creating a post out of it. We aim to create 5 product posts. We aim to create 5 case studies, so again you can use the information from the case studies that you've already created on your website. We then create 5 discount and business information posts. So this could be discounts and offers, opening times, your history and experience that you've got. So the 6th part of the process is to then start building citations. Google uses citations to confirm your name, address and your phone number. The more matching citations that you have around the internet, the more confidence Google will have in your data. The more trust Google has that your business is a real business. And even if no one finds them or clicks on them, having these citations in directories and other related sites is going to help with the credibility of your business. Now it's important to note that it doesn't mean the more citations the better. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of directories and similar sites that are out there. And all you need to do is choose the ones that are most relevant to your business. And the 3 things that you should look out for are topical relevance, location relevance, and the authority of the site. So a few examples would be something like Facebook, Yelp, Yell, Which, or construction.co.uk. And if you want a list of all of the most important citations for local flooring companies, then if you check out the description below, I've got a link to a sheet that I've created that has all of these on it already. And you can download that for free, you can work through the list, and you can check off all of the ones that you have and don't have. And this is really going to help increase your local authority. So the 7th part of the process is to then start building backlinks. So now your site is optimized. You have good content. It provides a good user experience. You've built quality informational content on your chosen sub-niche. And once you've done all of that, it's now time to promote it. We need to boost the authority of your flooring company. And to do this, we need to find other related websites that will feature your company. And when they feature you, we need to ensure that they are linking back to your website, because every link from a related, trusted website that points back to yours is going to increase the authority and trustworthiness of your site. And if your website structure is set up correctly and you're internally linking correctly, then the authority that you get from these websites is going to pass through the right pages on your site to the money pages, the pages that you want to get to the top of the search results. So to find and get these links, there's 2 main strategies that we need to use. The first one is what we call niche edits, and that is basically finding a website that has an existing article that is relevant to your website or to the page that you're trying to link to, and trying to get a link placed within that content. The second way is what we call guest posting. And what we're doing here is we're essentially reaching out to relevant websites and we're asking if we can write an article for their website, and within that article that we write for them, we're going to have a link pointing back to our website. And of course there are a ton of other ways to get backlinks, but these are the 2 main strategies that will work good enough to rank your website. You don't need to overcomplicate this process. And link building is typically an activity that you will do every single month. And you'll need to direct these links to all of the relevant pages that you want to try and boost. So for instance, if you're a company that's never done any kind of online marketing, so you have a very, very small footprint and you have a very low authority score, then really the first place to start building backlinks to is going to be your homepage. So you would have branded anchor text pointing back to your homepage to try and boost the overall authority of your site and brand. Once you feel like you've boosted your brand and your overall authority enough, you'll then start building links back to pages such as your blog content. Within your blog content, you would then link to some of the key pages that you want to rank higher. So the 8th part of the process is now to start creating press releases. And the purpose for a press release in our case is to boost your Google business profile. We want to expand the radius that you get found on maps as much as possible. And the strategy that we do to increase the radius is you would create press releases that point back to location posts on your Google business profile. So if, for example, you're based in Leeds, but you want to target Huddersfield, then you would create a Google business post on flooring company in Huddersfield. Then you would create a press release that points back to that post. And in that post, you would have a button that says learn more. The learn more button would then link to the flooring company in Huddersfield page on your website. And you'd want to build press releases to each of these location posts. And you'll need to repeat this process as many times as needed until you're dominating for the area that you're trying to expand into. And then the ninth part of the process is to increase your branded assets around the internet. And generally, the more branded entities that you have around the internet, the better. And the main branded entity that you have is your own website. But there's a ton of other properties around the internet that you can create to increase the footprint of your brand. And this would be an activity that you could do every month, little by little. So for example, some of the places that you would create branded entities would be things like Blogger, YouTube, Twitter, Medium, Weebly, Google Drive, and there's tons of others out there that you can create. And all of these sites should be interlinking to create what we call a branded network. And then the 10th part of the process is to review and repeat. Nothing in SEO is once and done. Everything you do needs time to implement and time to take effect. And everything should be monitored and reviewed periodically. There's going to be some things that you do that are going to be much more powerful than others. And you need to get a good understanding of what these are so you can double down on these activities. However, the problem is, it's not always one thing in isolation. It's normally lots of things that come together to create that powerful effect. And that's why you need a repeatable process. Like the process we've just gone through, you can repeat this process over and over again. And over time, that's what's going to produce you results. It's going to get you ranking higher in the search engines. It's going to produce you more leads, and it's going to allow you to grow your flooring company and dominate for the areas that you operate in.